Hobie already failed. I'm going to talk about why Hobie failed, what Hobie did right when they were on top, and then what they need to do to not fail again. And I want to say something very definitive before we move forward, because a lot of the comment section even said something to the effect of, well, if Bass Pro Shop doesn't do this or that, then Hobie will fail. Okay? So I want to set the foundation for this conversation by saying this. Hobie already failed. Hobie already failed. Hobie went out of business in effect, went up for sale for several months, and got bought by another company. So Hobie, as you know it, failed. Okay? I'm going to tell you why they failed. I'm going to tell you what made Hobie number one in the beginning, what they did right, and that if they don't do those things, they'll never be number one again. And I don't know that that's even an option, but they probably won't even survive if they don't do some of these things. So here's what I'm a little hot under the collar about. I have people who messaged me talking shit like, oh, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. You're talking out your ass. You shouldn't be making these comments when you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, first of all, I know what I'm talking about. Secondly, I bit my tongue and didn't talk about this for months out of respect for the sources. The reason I did the video is because a Bass Pro Shop employee put the information out, preempted the press release and the official announcement and all that other stuff. And then Alex Fulgaria did a video about it, which covers most of it, but not everything. And then I just kind of wanted to pose the question more than say anything definitive. Well, today I'm going to say some definitive stuff. And I'm not going to apologize for having experience and knowledge and being in this industry and having business acumen and knowing what I've done wrong in the past and how to fix it and what other companies have done, and basically just having been around. I've also been an adult for a long ass time. I spent 20 years in the military, had a very successful military career, and I've got good instincts. Okay, so I'm going to share my instincts with you about the way forward. Okay, let's start off by saying why Hobie was successful when they were super successful. When Hobie was super successful, there was two key reasons for that. They had the best fishing team in the game, meaning they were the best vetted, the best selected, they had the most, accomplishments, and Hobie did a good job of taking care of them with Columbia shirts and then AFCO shirts and luggage and jackets and branded Hobie team stuff. And that built a ravenous group of Hobie supporters that anytime anybody made a negative comment about Hobie, it was like a purr, 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 a trumpet was blown, and they showed up like a wolf pack to defend Hobie. Rightfully so, because they valued and believed in the brand that valued and believed in them. So over the course of the new ownership several years ago, 2019, 2020 timeframe, they stopped valuing the team. They started going after big box accounts. I was personally on a phone call with someone from Hobie leadership back then who made the statement, we were able to do this, this, and this that Hobie wasn't able to do, the Hobie previous ownership. And I kind of laughed, and I actually called one of the other people on the call after the fact and said, does that guy not realize that they didn't do that because that's not what they wanted to do, not because they couldn't? And does he not realize that's potentially fatal for the brand? And what I mean by that is they went after trying to get in every big box that they could, but not having a plan to support the product after they went to big box. Now, I'm going to stop right there for a second. I'm going to back up, and I'm going to finish off talking about why Hobie was successful. One, they were successful because they had a very solid team that was run by solid people. First, Vince Consoli. Might be dating myself here. Most of you guys don't even know who Vince Consoli is, but Vince Consoli is the reason Hobie got to where it is, or one of the reasons. And then a guy named Morgan, okay? And Morgan, in my opinion, built on what Vince did, took it to the next level, and he was that guy that took Hobie to where it is. He was that trusted resource. He was out there doing it. He was the interface between the team and the anglers, the dealer, everybody that needed something from Hobie and they couldn't get it any other way, they would go to Morgan, and Morgan would make sure that it got taken care of. I know Morgan very well. Morgan slept on the couch at my hotel the first night that he ever went to ICAST. This industry is way more interconnected than you guys think it is. You think people are competitors, but what you don't realize is a lot of us are friends, okay? And Morgan and I were friends pretty much the whole time. I had a relationship with Hobie because of their relationship with Torquedo. The first time Hobie went to ICAST and had a booth at ICAST, half of their big pictures on the panels on the outside, I took the pictures. 3 or 4 times Hobie's catalogs had pictures of my photography in it. If you've ever seen the iconic picture from Hobie with Marty Mood in the kayak and his daughter standing in the back and he's reaching back, I took that picture. Lots of these things. And I'm only saying this to say, a lot of people don't realize how deep my relationship went with Hobie over the years. And even though the product didn't fit my style of fishing, and even though their brand philosophy didn't fit my style of fishing, and honestly, ideologically, Hobie Cat, the sailboat company, was donating to political candidates that didn't align with my belief system. They offered me more money way back when than any other candidate or any other company ever did. But because of their support of a candidate who was pushing marine protected areas, their donation to those things because of the sailboat side, I did not want to be aligned with that brand. I don't know that that's been the case in probably forever, but principally, I was not on board with that. So therefore, I didn't take the deal. Okay, so it's not about money. And I'm making this video because this is a hot topic in the fishing industry, in the kayak fishing industry. The two are merging with the biggest entity in the fishing industry, acquiring one of the most iconic brands in the kayak fishing sport. This is a merger of epic proportions, so it needs to be talked about. Now, I'm going to back up again, and I'm going to finish what I was saying about Hobie. Here's the other reason Hobie was really successful. Hobie protected its dealers, and its dealers protected Hobie. Hobie boats have been cracking, just like every other brand has had cracking issues from the beginning. But here's what happened. A person had a Hobie that cracked, or they had a pedal drive that broke, and they went to a dealer, and they said, hey man, I just bought this boat, and my boat's cracked, or my pedal drive doesn't work. And the dealer went, hold on a second, bro. Boom, got you. New boat on order. We're going to stop drill this. We're going to do this. We're going to order it. And as soon as the new hole comes in, we're going to take care of you. Angler went back to fishing, didn't miss a day on the water, didn't miss anything. Guy walks in, hey, my pedal drive broke. Dealer said, hold on a second. Walks over here, grabs a pedal drive off of his showroom floor. Here, angler, take this pedal drive. They then took that pedal drive. They called Hobie, hey, I got a broken pedal drive. Hobie said, no problem, we got you, okay? That's why Hobie was where it was at. Kick-ass team, kick-ass management by Morgan and the other people that were on the team, and people that were really accomplished ambassadors endorsed the brand. That's why they were able to sell a premium product. The other thing that they did is they did a really good job of accessorizing. They were the Harley Davidson of kayak fishing, meaning a person could go into the shop, they could buy a Hobie kayak, but then they could spend another $1,000 on, I got my Hobie keychain, I got my Hobie fish grip, I got my Hobie this, got my Hobie that, right? And they walked out of there looking like a Hobie factory, you know, rained on them. So that made the dealers even more interested in supporting Hobie. They had the boat with the highest price, which lent them to the most margin. They protected MAP, which is minimum advertised price, and they didn't let people devalue their brand. Strong dealer network, strong team, strong marketing to reinforce all of that, and you have a recipe for success. Here's where it all started to come unravel, and here's why Hobie failed. And I'm going to say this one more time. It isn't if they fail or don't fail. It isn't they might fail. They failed. The Hobie Corporation pretty much would have ceased to operate and pretty close to cease to operate under the leadership that acquired it a few years ago and had to be basically taken over by the bank, and then the bank shopped it to whoever they could, and several people threw their hat in the ring, and it came down to the White River Marine Group buying them. Bass Pro Shops, what you guys know it as, okay? So here's the crossroads we're at, okay? Here's how Hobie can be successful again, and here's how there's no way in hell they're going to be successful again. So in that last video, I said some, stuff to pose the question, to get your feedback, to make people think a little bit. Now I'm saying some definitive stuff, and I'm definitively saying it based on 30 plus years in this industry, managing stuff successfully, managing stuff not successfully, and understanding what you have to do to overcome those things. And now here we are, okay? So I'm gonna give you my roadmap to success, and I'm gonna give you my roadmap to failure, and you can see how well this video ages. You know how they say that on social media? Well, that didn't age well. Well, listen, this is gonna be the crystal ball that I'm looking into that's always been accurate with my assessment of this industry, okay? I'm not breaking my arm, patting myself on the back. I'm just saying, I've had my finger on the pulse. I do this, I wake up every day. I eat, sleep, breathe, bleed, kayak fishing, okay? It's what I do. It's who I am to my core. That's why I care. So if you're asking, oh, you care about Hobie, what does it matter to you for, fat boy? Well, that's why, because it's my sport, just like it's your sport and it's our sport, but I'm vested in it. Everything I got is in. I'm all in. You know in the video, I'm all in. I'm all in this sport. So here we go. Dealer support has to happen. Dealer support leads to angler support. Angler support leads to flushing all the negative that's out there. The dealer has to be supported. The reason that Hobie failed is when Hobie stopped being able to get that dealer a new hull or a new pedal drive or new whatever in a timely manner, to where now they didn't have a boat sitting there that they couldn't sell, they thrived. But once the dealer started realizing, man, if I give this pedal drive away, now I've got a boat I can't sell, which is why you see some dealers posting on Facebook, buy a Hobie Pro Angler with no pedal drive for a discount, because they gave the pedal drive away and then Hobie didn't take care of them. So now they got a boat they can't sell without the pedal drive. So that's a whole different video for a whole different day, because I do believe they should sell it without the pedal drive so people don't have to pay the pedal drive tax. But anyway, a separate video. Now, number one, they got to support their dealers, which means they can't go at it alone by just offering it through Bass Pro Shop. I think Bass Pro Shop does a lot of great things for the sport. I'm not this like, oh, screw Bass Pro, screw Big Box. I think that what Johnny Morris has done with conservation is unrivaled. I don't think another single entity in our sport has done as much for conservation. So regardless of what you think about them in the retail space, you can't hate the overall entity or the person behind it, because they've done a buttload of good. Probably one of, if not the most recognizable people in the industry from a business standpoint. Maybe not as recognizable as Kevin Van Dam or Bill Dance or Rick Clunn or some of those people from a celebrity standpoint, but definitely one of the most recognizable and influential business people. There's a double-edged sword to that. There's been companies that have gone into Bass Pro Shop and went out, they went all in, and then it didn't work out, and Bass Pro Shop sent them a charge back, or did an XPS version of their product and pretty much tanked it, and they went out of business. So, but you should know that going in, that there's that double-edged sword. Again, a whole nother video. Back to Hobie being successful. They've got to have a strong dealer network. This is not a product that can be supported by, you purchase it and forget it. There's not a Bass Pro Shop formula, or one that I envision, where a Bass Pro Shop store can support the rudder tweaks, the pedal drive tweaks, the rigging requirements, and some of the things you're going to have to do to be successful selling the Hobie brand. The next thing they're going to have to do is make amends for the warranties that are out there that are very long in the tooth, the cracked hulls, the 360 drives, all of those kind of things. And it really isn't that complicated. We are blessed with a world, and especially a sport, with a memory that's not very long. You take care of somebody, you take away their hammer their drumstick that they're beating the drum with, and it could go back to normalizing pretty quick. So there has to be some attention to the actual outstanding warranties and the existing warranties. I think anything other than hitting that head on is a recipe for a slow death. Okay, I'm going to say that. Hobie doesn't necessarily have to get into the distribution model that I recommended in my last video, but they do have to get into a model of not being the bull in the china shop, or the grizzly bear, or the 5,000-pound whale that sits on top of specialty retail, because specialty retail is going to be critical to the survival of this brand. Most of your hardcore supporters are either people who work at specialty retail, who own a specialty retail shop, are affiliated with them in some way or another. So they got to address the warranty situation and hit it head on. They have to support specialty retail because, again, this is why they were as successful as they were. Hobie had just as many problems from the beginning as everybody else, but you never heard about it because the angler, the consumer, got taken care of. And the reason they failed is they stopped doing that. The reason they failed is they stopped supporting specialty retail. And they've got to get back to innovating, okay? I think that the 360 drive was good in theory, but the reliability of it turned out to be, I don't even want to say a net negative. It was definitely at least a net push because there was as much problems with it as from a bad side as it solved. Now, had all of those other things been taken care of, if they had plenty of parts and dealer support and an aggressive team out there supporting it, you probably wouldn't even know, or you wouldn't know to the level that you know now that there's problems with the 360 drive, because not everybody has them, okay? So they've got to get back to innovating. So the three parts of this scenario for Hobie to not fail again is dealer support, reinvesting in reactivating or re-engaging one of the best ambassador groups that has ever been put forward in the sport of, actually not just in the sport of fishing. The way that Hobie did the team when they were doing it right was better than any outdoor brand has ever supported a group, in my opinion. I really can't think of one that's even close. So they get back to supporting their ambassadors, support their dealers, have their dealers support their ambassadors. I think that'll set the table for getting back to innovating. So really, we're at this crossroads, okay? Here's the formula for failure. Just do the same thing you did to fail the first time. Because again, let's not mince words here. Hobie didn't almost fail, or there wasn't this chance that they were going to fail, or they still might fail. They failed. Fails happened. You're at ground zero now to build back up. Build back up to what made you who you were and what made you successful in the beginning. Now, here's my challenge to all the other brands out there. I just laid out the formula for you. So if you want to make it harder for Hobie to take over number one again, if you want to make it harder for Hobie to succeed, if you want to compete with big box, then do everything I just said for your brand. Support your team. Post them on your content. Shout them out for their accomplishments. Recognize them for their contribution. Support your dealers with warranty stuff. Don't fight them on it. Let them be the champion for the consumer and support them, and y'all hash that problem out behind the scenes. Deal with warranties like your brand depends on it, because it does. So yeah, there's the formula for every brand out there who says Hobie's never going to be number one again. We're going out. Oh, we going to get that. Get it. There's the formula. Hobie, if you're listening, there's the formula for being successful. In case you forgot, you supported your dealers better than anybody out there. Warranty support through your dealers was better than anybody out there, and your ambassadors were taken care of. Start doing that again, and you'll be successful. Don't do that moving forward, and you've already failed.